Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are doing a deck for Deadpool, the trading card. Deadpool is a 5/3 mutant mercenary hero. As he enters, you may exchange his text box and another creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life, and then pay 3, sacrifice this creature. Each other player draws a card. And you can draw me like one of your French cards. So this is cloning Deadpool. So why play Deadpool? Guys, he's Deadpool, and like he's a funny guy. He's also functionally removal on your commander, and he also dabbles in theft. The way Deadpool really works, right? So it says as Deadpool enters, which is a big difference between when Deadpool enters, right? He basically enters the battlefield. So really before he hits the field, you just kind of do the swap around. That's more of a state-based action, right? So you can't really you can respond to the cast, but you can't really respond to I don't think that trigger. Either way, right? The idea is we are going to steal one of our opponent's commanders, and they will now have to lose 3 life on their upkeep and sacrifice to make everyone else draw a card. So he punishes and drains opponents just by making them lose 3 life. It's also just kind of killing all their stuff, or better yet, we're now having it on a 5/3 body. And he draws everyone cards because ideally they just want to kill it. The cool thing about Deadpool is that when you but when you switch text boxes with someone else's commander, there's not really oh, I'll send it to the command zone. It's just nope, that's just Deadpool for as long as it's alive. And then even if you want to replay it later, we're just going to make a copy of Deadpool and then steal it again. So hopefully no one... The big goal in this deck is every opponent's creatures say at the beginning of your upkeep, lose 3 life and sacrifice it to make everyone else draw a card. So he's pretty funny. Here's the game plan. We need him to win. This deck is Deadpool cloning. Ideally, we need to clone Deadpool. So we got to make a lot of copies of him. Early game, we want to get down some rocks and support pieces. The more mana we have, the more clones of Deadpool we can make. And really, the more clones we make of him, the more we can steal, quote-unquote, steal our opponent's stuff. Mid-game, we play Deadpool to kill, steal, however you want to say it, our opponent's creatures. Again, they're now just vanilla, I guess not vanilla, but vanilla lose 3 life and sacrifice it to make each other player draw a card. So it's fun punishment. And then ultimately, late game, we want to drain our opponents out by making sure they they need creatures, so they'll probably lose 3 life, or they're going to draw us a lot of cards. We will make an army of 5/3 Deadpools, and our opponents will have functionally no creatures. So channel and deck stuff. The deck is, it's a bit pricey. It's really as pricey as you want to make it. There are some expensive cards if you want to cut them to bring down that $500 price point. You can cut Cavernous Souls. Actually, don't cut Cavernous Souls. That you don't want Deadpool being countered. But you know what I mean. Look at some of the expensive cards. Say, that's too much. Get rid of it. Get the cards you do need from the link right down below. Helps me and the channel grow. And then, as always, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So, going into the only Planeswalker, we have Chandra, Flameshaper. 7 mana is very steep, but ultimately, the free +1 every single turn to make a copy of Deadpool, except, whatever we have to sacrifice the end step. It doesn't matter. Because the way this really works is we +1er, we make a token that's a copy of Deadpool. As it enters, so again, not really entering, but as it enters, it enters the battlefield as a copy. Sorry, they do the old switcheroo text box. So if it wasn't enter the battlefield trigger, you still get that enter the battlefield. But either way, I digress. Deadpool's a complicated card. Either way, we're +1ing him. We're having a token that's a copy of Deadpool enters. First things first, we have to do the legend rule. However, his thing is still going to happen. So we're basically wiping out one of our opponent's text box, and instead now they have a Deadpool. Not a Deadpool. They don't have a 5/3 Deadpool. They just have the text box of Deadpool. The +2 is also really good, and the -4 is good removal if we do need it later. But again, we just want to keep making clones. Going into creatures, we have Blood Artist because we are going to have to sacrifice our clones to the legend rule pretty frequently. There are a couple ways out of that. However, it's really going to happen for a lot. So Blood Artist is whenever one of our Deadpools dies, because legendary rule, target player loses 1 life and we gain 1 life, which is really nice because also when our opponents are sacrificing their own creatures because they don't want to lose 3 life every turn, Blood Artist triggers off that. Bloodthirsty Conqueror, Flying Death Touch. Whenever an opponent loses life, we gain that much life. So the idea is people need creatures, right? They're not just going to keep having no creatures. I mean, even if they do, we'll just keep crashing them with a 5/3, and who cares, right? But they're going to lose 3 life to keep around some of their bigger creatures. And then when they do, we gain 3 life. And it's also just if we crash in, whatever. If they lose life, we gain life. Delina is very excellent. Whenever she attacks, choose target Deadpool you control and roll a d20. If we get a 1 to 14, we make a tapped and attacking copy of Deadpool, but then again, he's going to go away. Oh, sorry, except it's not legendary. So he kind of sticks around. Just get rid of a creature, exile, or really not exile. Get rid of their effect, and then crash in with a 5/3. It'll go away combat. If we get a 15 to 20, we do it, and then we just roll again. So Delina is actually a 1-card infinite. It's a 1-card infinite, but not really. Gix, Yawgmoth's Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of our opponents, its controller may draw a card if they lose a life. Which I guess really lose a life and then draw a card, which is really nice because it's beneficial for us, but also just like we can do the big steal ability if we really want to. We're probably not going to, but the idea is it de-incentivizes our opponents from attacking us and crashing into each other. Jaxus the Troublemaker really is a troublemaker. You pay a red and tapper to discard a card and really just make a copy of Deadpool as a sorcery. That's 100% it. Like again, we just discard a land and we make a Deadpool, he enters, we do the old switcheroo on text, kill it off, and now they have to lose 3 life and sack a creature if they want. Cardor the Doomscourge is kind of nice. It basically makes our opponents have to swing out and they can't attack us. And then whenever an attacking creature an opponent controls, whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 and we gain 1. So it's really good just punishment. And I mean, I guess it's kind of a way that they have to, it almost forces them to either, I don't know, like they're not going to want to sacrifice the creature, so it's kind of like a weird board wipe in a way, where it's like people are just going to crash into each other's creatures and we'll gain some life on that, and they can't attack us. Mayhem Devil, whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, it deals 1 damage to any target. They probably would want to sacrifice their copies of Deadpool, because they don't want to lose 3 life, and we'll ping them anyways. Mirage Phalanx has Soul Bond, so we just slap it straight onto OG Deadpool. Again, there's, I guess, really 2 different kinds of Deadpools. Non-token, on-god Deadpool, and clones. This goes on OG Deadpool. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of this creature, except it has haste and soul bond. So it's really, again, just going to enter, do the old switcheroo, and just wipe away all the effects of one of our opponent's creatures. Mirkwood Bats is excellent because whenever we create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1. And again, like even like cards like Mirage Phalanx, where it's, again, we make a token, each opponent loses 1 life. He specifically says exile, but all the other stuff that just says like, oh yeah, like make a token. If we have to sacrifice it to the legend rule, I guess, which we will have to do, that is also going to work. Morbid Opportunist, whenever 1 or more creatures dies, and draw a card. So which is really nice because people are probably going to want to do it on other people's end step so that they don't have to lose the 3 life. And then functionally in that case, we're drawing 2 cards almost a turn. Ortheon, Hero of Lavabrink. Card shot up in value. It used to be like a penny common, and now it's like 15 bucks. Actually crazy. Pay 2, tap them, make it, make a copy of Deadpool as a sorcery, do the old switcheroo, sacrifice it. And then we can pay 9 to make 5 copies of it. And that's just kind of like a one-sided, not board wipe, but like one-sided, your creatures don't do anything. Pitiless Plunder, whenever another creature you control dies, create 5 treasure tokens, which is really good because even if you look at like Pitiless Plunder, or make a treasure token, sorry, not 5. If you look at Ortheon, what I meant to say is if you pay 9 and then we have to sacrifice 5 Deadpools to the legend rule anyway, like we're still getting like a treasure out of it. So it still kind of goes a little bit further. Same thing with like the top ability of Ortheon, just pay 2, a Deadpool token's gonna die, we make a treasure, so it really only costs 1. I don't know. It's good, roundabout way. Riona Fire Dancer. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create X tokens that are copies of another target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of instants and sorceries you cast this turn. They gain haste. So if we cast like 1 sorcery or instant during our turn, which is really not uncommon, believe it or not, you'll see when we get there. We just make that many copies, so we could just kind of clone them up. Solemn Simulacrum is also very good for this because, so he enters, we ramp, right? Get a basic, and then when he dies, we draw a card. So I like Solemn because, well, one, Rakdos doesn't have a ton of ramp options other than making like a ton of treasures, but I also like it because if there are scenarios where we don't have Deadpool, like we still want to have like targets to make clones of, right? And Solemn is a great target to make a clone of. Same thing with Terror of the Peaks. Terror of the Peaks is great. So he kind of has ward in a weird way, but not technically ward. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, he lasers someone equal to its power. Now, the cool thing about these Deadpools is, although they're swapping the text box, they keep the power toughness. So Deadpools are entering as 5/3s. So Terror of the Peaks is zapping things for 5, which is really good. Tegrid got a fright and her trusty Tegrid's lantern. So whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a permanent card, we can put it from their grave onto our battlefield, which is really nice because when they do sacrifice it, it comes back to our field. When they pay 3 to sacrifice it, it comes back to our field as it was basically written on the card. Like we just get whatever it is, no Deadpool text involved. Tegrid's Lantern is also fine. Ideally, we're not playing this side just because the other one's way better, but target player loses 3 unless they sacrifice a non-land or discard a card, then we can pay 4 to untap it. It's good. Is it crazy? Nah, not really. I mean, in multiplayer, like in Brawl, sure, one-on-one, go nuts. It's pretty solid. But yeah, not ideal. We want face. We want the creature. Now, the Master Multiplied is excellent in this deck. Has a Myriad. The legendary rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control. Now, we make a lot of creature tokens, ideally clone creature tokens of Deadpool. So now they don't go away. And triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens you control. So any of the abilities that are like, make a token that's a copy of them and then sacrifice it or exile it, it doesn't happen. And since he's legendary, he's sticking around. So we're now keeping our clone copies, which is really, really nice. Also, a kind of funny thing to mention about this kind of mechanic, how it works. If, let's say, we make a clone that's a copy of Deadpool, right? And normally it would just go away, sacrifice it, exile it, whatever. Now, Mastermind, if we have that legend rule and it still sticks around, I mean, the legend rule is going to go away when he's not there. But the triggered ability you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens is really nice because if we do one of the clone abilities and then we like basically live a turn or we go to at least to the end step and we still have the master, we don't have to sacrifice it. But let's say the next turn the master dies, we still do get to keep those tokens, which is nice. Valgavoth, Hero of Souls. He loves souls. He actually harrows them. He's got ward, flying 4/4/4. I did a deck check on him way back. He's good. Check it out if you want. But the idea is each player goes to their turn and then they lose at least 3 life. And then we draw a card and put a counter on them. So pretty solid. Zancha is kind of like an OG Deadpool almost. It enters the battlefield under an opponent's control. It has to attack every combat and it can't attack us. And then anyone can pay 3, right? To make Zancha's controller, not owner, so whoever has it, lose 2 and then they draw a card. Which is pretty funny, which is actually pretty funny. Going into sorceries, we have Blasphemous Act, and I love this art. I think it goes so hard. But either way, just dealing 13 to everything, it's a board wipe. Come Back Wrong is really nice if we do want to kill a creature. If it has like a nice ETB ability or whatever, we can just have that happen. Electro Duplicate, and we can also just, I mean, I guess technically do it to Deadpool, which is something we can do if you check it out in a second. In our instance, Electro Duplicate, make a token that's a copy of Deadpool, and then flash it back and do it again. Feed the Swarm. I'll tell you guys, Rakdos doesn't have a lot of ways to deal with enchantments. And Feed the Swarm is a good bet. Now, Friends to the End, aka Twin Flame, really good. Basically we just make a copy of Deadpool, but we can also, like, bring it out to a lot of our other things if we just want to make token copies of other stuff. It costs a little bit more. And also, I don't really like the Chucky Secret Lair. I'm not gonna lie, like, there are some good cards, but I feel like if you were going to do a slasher, like, wouldn't you want, like, I don't know, maybe a more traditional slasher, like Jason or Freddy or Mr. Michael Myers or whatever? I don't know. I digress. It doesn't matter. Heat Shimmer's great. Make a token that's a copy of Deadpool. Just short, sweet, to the point. That's really it. Gain saves. Who cares? Jessica's Will is also really nice because, again, the whole idea is that we have Deadpool. So if we have them, we get a ton of red mana. I probably on average, I've seen Jessica's Will rip for like 4 or 5 red mana. So it's almost always a free spell at the very least. And then exile the top 3 cards of our deck, and we can play them this turn. So it's this kind of weird card draw, and it's almost always a free spell. Molten Duplication, that's a 2 mana clone. Vandablast is also good. I mean, it's a good card, right? Would I put it in the deck if it wasn't Deadpool Secret Lair? Probably still. I don't know. It's really good. Like, it's just funny art too. Going into instants, right? We have Bedevil to pop an artifact creature or planeswalker. Deadly Rollick is honestly, again, great. Even if it wasn't in the Deadpool Commander deck, or Commander Secret Lair, who cares? I would still put it in. It's just good because when we always want to have him on the field, this is free. Same thing with Deflecting Swat. Ideally, it's always free. If someone tries to kill Deadpool, we go, and then we kill something else. Feign Death, Malakir Rebirth, and Not Dead After All. Well, Malakir Rebirth is a tap land on the other side, but they all serve the same function, right? If someone destroys Deadpool or Deadpool dies or whatever, we just want to pay a quick mana and say, yeah, he just comes right back, and then he's going to come back and then do the tech swap again. So this is the kind of stuff where it's like, when we're such a one-card commander-focused deck, we can't have him die. Like, we straight up can't. We need him, like, if he dies, twice, like, we're not paying 8 for Deadpool. Like, it's almost game over at that point. So we need him to keep being on the field, and these kind of cards make it happen. Saw in Half. Now, we probably would do that to Deadpool, because I think it'd be funny, but, I mean, either way, like, it's fine. We kill a creature, and then, if it dies, its controller makes 2. We just want to do it to our own. We almost never want to do it to, like, an opponent's creature. Supernatural Stamina is the same thing as the other 1 mana. It's not actually dead cards. Terminate, easy, short, sweet, instant speed removal. Undying Malice, another one of the old, comes right back. And then Withering Torment, like I said earlier, we don't have a ton of ways to deal with enchantments, so that is that. Going into artifacts, we have a good amount. Arcane Signet, because it's just good to ramp. Blade of Selves to give Deadpool Myriad, so then when he does attack, we make 3 copies of it. Again, assuming we are in a pot of 4 and we have 3 opponents, we make 3 more copies of Deadpool. That all die immediately right away, but still, their text do the old switcheroo. Now, Bolas' Citadel, I just like Bolas' Citadel. We're not running it for any really nefarious reasons. Hold on a second. All we're really trying to do it is consistently rip clone cards from the top of our deck. That's really what we want to do and keep making these copies. Conjurer's Closet will blink Deadpool. He'll come back, do the old switcheroo. Great. Cursed Mirror, it taps for a red, and then as it enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it gains haste. So what we really could do is, ultimately, you can read this as a 2-mana sorcery speed clone. It's going to enter the battlefield. In response to the clone ability, we'll tap it. No, it's actually as it enters battlefield, so we couldn't do that. I mean, either way, right? It's a mana dork. Who cares? It's a copy of Deadpool. Cursed Totem is just kind of a prank. Activated abilities of creatures can't be activated. That kind of bothers us, but it really bothers our opponents because now they can't sacrifice their Deadpool texts. Now they have to take 3 forever, which is funny. Golden Argosy. I was going to pronounce it another way. I hate brain rot. Doesn't matter. Whenever it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn, and then we blink. We basically, ideally, we tap Deadpool if we want to attack it, and then we'll swing in with this 3/6. Deadpool comes right back in, and he does the old switcheroo text box. Helm of the Host, we make a free copy of Deadpool every turn, except it's not legendary, which is really nice. And something also of note is some of the ones we can do where we can copy just creatures, not just tokens. These ones aren't legendary, so these ones do stick around, which is very nice too. Mindstone, it's just good ramp. Mirror Box, Legend Rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1, so Deadpool is now at least a 6/4. And then each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature, so it makes all of our other dudes massive. Now, Mirror Gallery, it's just worse Mirror Box, because we don't want that fun rule to happen to our opponents. We just want it to happen to us. Either way, Rakdos Signet is good ramp. Resurrection Orb, toss it on Deadpool, give ourselves lifelink, and then if Deadpool does kind of die, he'll just come right back, which is fine. Soul Ring is Soul Ring. Swiftfoot Boots, we can't run Lightning Greaves in the deck because we do have so many targets for Deadpool. Like, we just can't. And we also want to make sure it's hexproof. Sword of Hearth and Home, we're probably not putting on Deadpool. I mean, we're definitely not putting it on Deadpool. We're putting it on really any of our other value guys or whatever, right? Just something +2/+2, pro green and white. We just want this guy to sneak in so we can blink Deadpool and ramp. That's just really it. It's there to blink Deadpool and ramp. And then Talisman of Indulgence is just more mana. Going into enchantments, we have Black Market Connections. We're not going to do the third ability. Ideally, we're just losing 3 a turn and making a treasure and drawing a card. That's almost always what we want to do. Echoing Assault, creature tokens you control have menace, and whenever you attack a player, choose target non-token creature that's attacking, i.e. Deadpool, and then you make a 1/1. And then it's going to die right away to Legend Rule, but it does the old switcheroo. Exquisite Blood, whenever an opponent loses life, we gain that much life. Again, same real exact thing as the Bloodthirsty Conqueror, just they're losing 3 on their upkeeps for each Deadpool they have unless they sacrifice it, so we gain a lot. Mirror March, whenever a non-token creature enters, flip a coin, or until we lose a flip. For each flip we won in a row, we make a token that's a copy of that creature. This is really good for just like when we have like a blink engine for Deadpool, or if he dies somehow and we have him come back to the battlefield with one of those 1 mana, like, he's not dead, which is good. Phyrexian Reclamation is just a fine way if Deadpool does die, we can actually keep the command tax low just by tossing him straight in the bin and then paying 2 mana to reanimate him, which is also fine. Even if it's not on Deadpool, who cares? It's just going to get back all of our other guys. Splinter Twin, infamous Splinter Twin. We put it on Deadpool, tap him, put a token that's a copy of Deadpool on the battlefield. He'll die right away, it doesn't matter. It's just another tech switcheroo. And then going into lands, we have Arena of Glory. We can exert it to give a thing haste if we want, but we probably, I mean, there are some scenarios where we do want to do that. Let's say like Terror of the Peaks or Bloodthirsty Conqueror, or if we want Deadpool to attack or whatever. It's good. Blood Crypt is Blood Crypt. It is a shock land. It'll tap for either or. Castle Lockwane will draw some cards in a pinch. Command Beacon is if Deadpool does get too pricey. If he's died too many times, it's good to just kind of have him be alright. Command Tower, taps for any color, also good. Dragon Skull Summit almost always enters untapped. Same thing with Haunted Ridge, Luxury Suite. Again, all lands we just want to have enter untapped. Sanctum of Eternity, to tap it to return target commander really from our battlefield to our hand. This is if it's our turn and we're doing shenanigans and someone has like removal for him, like we can just bounce him real quick and it's always going to be there. And then we finally have Smoldering Marsh and Sulphurous Springs, ideally always entering untapped because we have a large amount of basics, which brings us to 13 mountains and 12 swamps, which I believe is a total of 37 lands with 1 MDFC, which should be good for them either way. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Get the card you need from the link right down below. And then as always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.